This is your weekly celestial forecast for the week beginning July 24th, 2023. So on Monday, the 24th, we have the moon in Libra. And Libra is all about harmony, creating balance, because Libra is represented by the scales. And it's about partnerships, the seventh house, and anything connected with legalities, fairness, and justice. So on Monday, our focus will be on cooperation, creating harmony within relationships. However, the moon in Libra is applying the next day on Tuesday a square off with powerhouse Pluto. So we could be upset by some reactions, and therefore that could create some power plays, especially because Pluto is retrograde and at the critical 29 degrees. So on Tuesday and applying on Monday, do be careful of those in positions of power or authority. Also now, we have the South Node in Libra, and now officially the North Node is in Aries, and they are both at the critical 29th degrees. And as nodes do, going retrograde. So this is a changeover from the Taurus-Scorpio axis to now the Aries and Libra. So our sensitivities, because the nodes are a very sensitive point, are going to be about what? Kind of like the moon in Libra, about balance, cooperation, harmony, and there may be some interests or focus on justice and legalities, keeping the peace, social anything and everything, including social media, and what? Taking the lead and leadership, being headstrong and being very enthusiastic and fiery, because that is about Aries. So we have to find the balance in the nodes between our leadership and connecting with those in power or leaders and creating harmony and balance. And with the moon approaching the South Node in Libra, that could kind of hit a nerve for us on Tuesday. But on Monday, the moon is in Libra at 17 degrees. And it makes a connection, a fire-air connection with Mercury, the communicator, and the following day with retrograde Venus in Leo. And Leo Mercury and Venus is really good for creatively expressing our ideas. And Mercury in Leo is very commanding. When Mercury in Leo speaks, we sit up and take notice, because Leo, even with Venus and Mercury, are very good at commanding attention. And Venus is, even in its retrograde phase with Leo, is very warm-hearted and very generous. But keep in mind, Venus is retrograde now. So there could be some mix-ups in love. There's going to be a need to go back into the past and to make corrections in all areas of affection and love. And yes, there could be some misunderstandings, so do be cautious. And with Mercury there, yes, we will command attention by what we say, how we express ourselves. But because Mercury is in Leo, right now our attention, as with Venus, is going to be geared towards fifth house interests. Children, speculation, anything to do with fun, intimacy, children's interests, and so on. And these will be topics of discussion right now that will what? In Leo style, command our attention. And Mars is in the very particular analytical sign of Virgo. And this is making an opposition to retrograde Saturn. And Saturn is about responsibility and focus. Saturn in Pisces is about health care. It is about the 12th house, secrets, and that is connected with mental health, physical health, and also, guess what? So is Virgo. And with the opposition there to very responsible yet delaying karmic oriented Saturn and retrograde opposing the action planet of Mars and Virgo. This topic this week again will come up about mental health, physical health, anything to do with diet, exercise. Yes, because we're talking 6th house by the 12th house, anything to do with animals and anything to do with creating the balance between the physical health and mental health. There could be discussions about the imbalances in health care and corrections that will need to be made. And now, oh yes, the Sun is at 1 degree of Leo, and this makes an out of sign opposition with powerful Pluto. And keep in mind, Pluto is connected with the powers that be. It is connected with structure in society, and because it is in Capricorn, this is connected with government. And with the early Leo sun, Leo is about what? It is about the 5th house. And we have that connection, although not by conjunction, with Mercury and Venus. It's about children's interests. It's about our creativity, about speculation, what brings us joy. And so there are going to be some, oppositions or discussions regarding these matters. Perhaps a connection with the powers that be and anything to do with that is connected with Leo as aforementioned. Look for that this week. And Uranus is in Taurus. Jupiter is still in Taurus. So this is a very good time for discussions about what? money, finance, and our values. And with Uranus still in Taurus, there is yet still a concern with earth changes and the likes. And with Uranus there with the sign of Taurus, as Jupiter there could be unexpected ups and downs in the economy, the real estate market, anything to do with money or monetary values, banking, corporations, the market, you name it. So let's look to the following day, and that is Tuesday, July 25th. And now we've got the moon in Libra conjoined up exactly with the North Node at 29 critical of Libra. So that only emphasizes the need for cooperation, harmony, and balance. And with the square off with Pluto, this could become, well, rather disharmonious or unbalanced. So we will have to be careful of conflicts, especially connected with the public eye, the masses, anything to do with the courts, the legal system, social anything, social media, or just groups in general, especially because the moon now is also opposing the North Node in Aries. This creates a T-square in the cardinal sign, and Aries is connected with leaders. So look for this to be a probable issue Monday and Tuesday, and possibly early Wednesday. So we're going to move along. And also, one last thing, we've got an out of sign square off between now the early sun in Leo and the moon in almost 0 degrees of Scorpio. So we're feeling a little low ebb on our confidence Tuesday. We may feel a little bit listless, but hey, this is a day, because we're talking fixed, or the fixed emphasis here, it is a day to focus on our goals and what really has special meaning for us. And this is actually making a T-square between the sun in Leo and the North Node and the moon in late Libra and late Pluto in Capricorn. So yes, this is the day on Tuesday. We don't want to, similar to Monday, get into any tit for tat with the powers that be, or for that matter, get in any power plays. No, that's one thing we want to keep a heads up about on Tuesday. So let's look ahead to the following day, and that is Wednesday. And Wednesday, July the 26th. And now officially the moon is in Scorpio. Yes, and that makes a very wide trine to retrograde Saturn in Pisces. So with the moon in Scorpio, we are feeling rather intense that day on Wednesday. Yes, but with the wide trine with Saturn, even retrograde in sensitive, intuitive Pisces, our sensitivities and caring, kindness, healing nature is heightened on Wednesday, so we may feel very emotional, especially keep in mind because the moon is connected with the depth of Scorpio. Yes, and so we are feeling possibly with that connection with retrograde Saturn, we are feeling rather sentimental and sensitive on Wednesday. Yes, and the moon the following day will then apply a trine with the very watery psychic planet, nebulous planet of Neptune. So we also have a beautiful Earth water sextile between the Mars, the planet of action, and the moon in Scorpio. So this connection with Mars kind of gives some grounding to our emotions on Wednesday. So although we are feeling rather sentimental, maybe a little bit psychic or intuitive, with Mars that gives us some sensibility and grounding and wonderful focus regarding our work. And the Mars in Virgo has much in common with the intense Scorpio. They're both very analytical, they're both very research oriented and detail oriented. They both like to dig until they find out answers. So on Wednesday, there may be some information that we have to dig and dig until we find the answers, because Mars in Virgo and the moon in Scorpio indeed is a positive influence, but yet very disseminating and analytical and critical. We are putting information on Wednesday under the microscope that we need to figure out and investigate to see if it's the real deal. So let's look ahead to the following day, which is now Thursday, July 27th, and the moon is at approximately 25 degrees of Scorpio. And now the moon and Pluto retrograde in Capricorn are making a wonderful here too earth and water connection sextile. So what does that mean? Well, Pluto is retrograde, so we have to go back to the past and figure out where the power structures have gone wrong. We might have to literally fix structure, or there could be some concerns about the breakdown of structure within society with people, governments, the powers that be. And on Thursday, with the moon in Scorpio, because Pluto is ruled by the sign of Scorpio, this only enhances the power of Pluto and the moon in Scorpio. So kind of like the day prior with the need to get to the bottom of information with the sextile to action-oriented Mars, on Thursday, we not only will continue to dig for those answers and question those that are in authority, because we're talking Scorpio here, we will get answers. So don't be surprised if on Thursday in our lives personally and public there is some information that is unearthed and brought to the surface now that we will pick apart. And guess what? This can also be on a more physical sense. This can be actually something possibly even historical that is literally unearthed and brought to the surface. Why? Because Pluto digs and is connected with the eighth house, which is underneath the surface. And it is retrograde. So that's all about history and the past. And Scorpio moon, well, Scorpio, the sign, is ruled by Pluto. So there could be actually historical significance on Thursday, and also in a more, uh, I guess you could say, less physical sense. Uh, there's going to be information that will be brought about that we will really just go to town on and analyze to the hilt. And we're going to look ahead now. And also, one last thing here too for Thursday. We've got the square off with Venus and Mercury. So Venus is the planet of love and Mercury is the communicator. And especially with Venus retrograde. So that only emphasizes on Thursday, don't be too stubborn or aggressive in your stance about your personal opinions or ideas or ideals regarding love and affection, because misunderstandings and communication breakdowns could result with this square off with the moon and Mercury Venus in Leo. So let's look ahead, and officially we are in the weekend, and it is July 28th, and the moon is in gregarious fiery Sagittarius, and the depositor of this moon is Jupiter. So we're feeling kind of lucky on Friday. So that's kind of good. For the beginning of the weekend, we're feeling positive, maybe a little bit generous, and who knows, because of this depositor with the moon in Taurus, we may have some good financial news, and that's all too good. Although, do keep in mind, yes, indeed, we now have the mutable square off between the moon in Sagittarius, Saturn at retrograde Pisces, and Mars in picky analytical Virgo. So what does this mean? Well, Saturn is feeling, well, a tinge bit emotional now, and more so because it's retrograde. And we've got the positive yet truth-telling, outspoken, enthusiastic moon in Sagittarius, and we just want to go, go, go. We're feeling rather high energy, and we're feeling positive, and guess what? We've got Mars, the planet of action, bringing us right down to Earth. So, the positive here is the moon in Sagittarius to really focus on your goals. However, Sagittarius loves to speak their mind. Yes, indeed, they love truth. However, Mars in Virgo likes the facts. Saturn in Pisces, in this case, is going behind the scenes and wants to keep a secret, or maybe there's a little bit of deception. So on Friday, we have the differential between wanting to be very outspoken and direct and just tell it like it is, and wanting to keep information to ourselves. But the analytical Mars in Virgo wants to dig as the prior days and find out the answers. So there could be some opposition here in these matters between secrets and being open and advantageous and direct and honest, and really feeling that there may be some more information that we have to figure out. And because we're talking Virgo and Pisces, this may be connected with health care, health, diet, exercise, anything to do with these interests, or anything else to do with what is Pisces and what is Virgo. It's about physical health, but it's also about mental health. It's about cleanliness. It's about keeping organizations and that which is connected with anything with health, physical health, mental health in check. And with gregarious Sagittarius, well, we just want to put the facts out there. So herein lies the rub, the differential between creating the good balance in health care and health in general, details, and so on, and really trying to keep a lid on what needs to be kept quiet. And therefore, this could create this scenario of conflict on the weekend. But at least with the moon in Sagittarius and with the depositor with Jupiter in Taurus, we're feeling rather good now. Also, let's look ahead to the next day, which is Saturday. And Saturday, yes, we've got Jupiter at 13 degrees and Mars at 11 degrees. Oh, this is a very practical, sensible aspect. And this will remain pretty much for all week with this sweet trine with Mars, the action planet, and Jupiter in lucky Taurus. So this is the time we are going to save for a rainy day to really possibly take action towards our goals, but we are feeling rather down to earth, not kind of lost in craziness about our ideas and our goals. We are being very practical. And what else is Virgo Mars? Mars and Virgo is about perfection and hard work. So all this week with this Jupiter and Mars connection in Virgo, not only are we getting to the bottom of details, but with Mars there, especially in the sign of Virgo, we will have to be very careful of stress and strain on our health from over worrying, over taxing, and hard work. But hey, it will definitely pay off monetarily and otherwise, maybe even creating a few new opportunities with Jupiter in the very down-to-earth sign of Taurus. Yes, indeed. And now Mercury is also in Virgo, so that only heightens our need and gives us a critical eye for details, especially because Mercury is elevated in the sign that's ever so practical of Virgo. We are speaking intelligence, and anything to do with the facts, paperwork, and details now is going to be of utmost importance. And let's look to the next day, which is Sunday. We're already in Sunday. Going so quickly here. And we've got the moon in Capricorn, practical Capricorn. And its depositor is Saturn. So there we go again with Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Emphasizes this connection with health and wellness, organization, detail, you name it. That's only going to give us some practical backbone to this connection. So we are also, with that moon in Capricorn, really focused now, especially with the connection in trine with Mars and the depositor with Saturn retrograde in Pisces, only working harder and harder now for this last day of the week. Believe it or not, on Sunday, we really have an eye for hard work, maybe doing a little extra overtime, and really an eye for research, analyzation, and the details. But keep in mind, because of this opposition with Mars and Saturn over the weekend, we don't want to overthink, especially with Mars in Virgo and Mercury in Virgo now. We don't want to overthink the details or get too caught up in worry, because that can only lead to more stress and strain on our mental health and our physical health. And we now have Venus retrograde, the planet of love, and applying a square off to Uranus. So as aforementioned, also earlier in the week, we will have to be cautious of these unexpected conflicts with regard to love and affection, and the odd and the unusual with love and intimacy. But this square off with creative Leo retrograde especially only gives more emphasis to the odd and the unusual, and emphasis to that which is creative, unique, and the odd. So there is some good here with Venus retrograde with the square off to Uranus. Now, yes, and now we've got Venus in a beautiful air and fire sextile to the south node in Libra, and we've got the fiery trine with the north node in Aries. This sweet trine with retrograde Venus in Leo to the north node in Aries, sextile to the south node. And Libra and Leo, and to some degree Aries, have that very expressive creative bend. But when you have the fiery retrograde Venus in Leo and trine to leadership, first house oriented Aries, on Sunday, it's all about expressing what we want to express, saying what we want to say, and we want to put our personal touch on our self of expression, whether that be creativity with the internet, it's creativity in what we say, what we write, our whole and total mode of expression on Sunday is going to be at its highest with this connection with the north node and the south node in Aries, Libra, and the retrograde Leo Venus now. And yes, one final thing, yes, there is a quincunx between powerhouse Pluto now at 28 degrees retrograde and retrograde Venus. So they're feeling a little bit offbeat now, and quincunxes can be rather annoying. So this kind of adds to the annoyance between the square off between Venus retrograde and Uranus, the odd and unusual. So within our love relationships, we will have to not want to have the upper hand, because this on Sunday could also mix in with the power plays and the need to be right and take charge and be number one within our love relationships and to lead. So the key here is within this quincunx and within this square to Uranus and retrograde Venus is just to keep the peace, keep the harmony in relationship, open up modes of discussion, not be narrow-minded, closed-minded, and yes, we will have to be very aware of unexpected and random points of views expressed now and stubborn behavior. And if we can do that, that will be very beneficial for us on this final day of the week on Sunday. And until next week's weekly celestial forecast, if you'd like to get in touch with me, my contact information is down below. I give one-on-one readings and written reports. Please subscribe to this channel and press the bell notification. Until next time, many, many blessings.